Hi everybody, Frank Finance here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be doing a stock analysis on MariMed, ticker symbol MRMD. For today's agenda on MariMed, I'm going to give a price target, brief business description, look at the fundamentals including the financials, growth, Q3 results, the balance sheet, and free cash flow. I'm going to look at the price history of MeriMed Stock, and then I'm going to give my final thoughts on MariMed as an investment. If you found information in this video helpful, please hit that like button. Also, I do videos very similar to this on other companies, so if you like this type of content, please consider subscribing. Now, my price target for MariMed is $1.60 in the next 12 months, indicating about an 81% upside currently. Now, this is a pretty conservative price target. I think it also has the ability to double that, to go up to $3.20. It just depends on momentum as well as how fast people start to notice this name and the growth associated with it. For between 2020 and anticipated end year of 2021, they're anticipated 160 year-over-year growth. So that's really exciting. Let's talk a little bit more and look more into the numbers. All right, MariMed released a EBITDA multiple valuation where they're saying they think they are discounted in terms of relative to their peers. So just to kind of go through this, they have an EBITDA multiple of 10. And if you look at their competitors, if you take out the high, which is 35, and the low, which is 15, excluding MariMed, you got basically sitting at 19, 24, 19, and 21, somewhere averaging a little bit above 20. So you can see at least there's at least 100% upside based off of what MariMed is saying in this presentation here. Now for a brief business description, MariMed is a multi-state operator in the cannabis industry. They have 5 states of operation. They have 7 operating dispensaries, 3 under development, and 4 cultivation and production facilities. They have 4 dispensaries in Illinois, 1 dispensary, 2 under development in Massachusetts, with 1 cultivation and processing, and their headquarters is also there. In Delaware, they have 2 dispensaries and 1 cultivation/processing. In Maryland, they have 1 cultivation and processing and 1 dispensary. And in Nevada, 1 cultivation facility. Now, creating strong brands is one way that MariMed is going to be able to increase profitability as well as increase their product volumes. And so these are some of the brand names that they have. I believe Betty's Eddies is one of their best brands and award-winning in a lot of ways. Again, moving forward, they're just going to have to continue building their brand, create more recognition, and then overall their product volumes should continue to remain at least solid and more than likely continue to grow in volume. All right, then moving into potential revenue from strategic growth drivers. So you can see by each one of those things, they have a projection of how much they anticipate the revenue gains to be. So 40 to 65 million, 50 to 85 million, 30 to 60 million. And overall, between just those 3 things, they're anticipating $120 to $210 million in potential growth in revenue. Now, their revenue for full year 2021 is anticipated to be around $118 million. So that's all projecting their company to double yet again. Remember, in 2020, revenue was around $50 million. All right, jumping into the financials for 2018, they had $11 million in revenue, 2019, 45, and in 2020, $50 million in revenue. You can see their revenue growth year over year was fairly strong, and they had a pretty minimal year in 2020. 2021 full year guidance is at 118, so well over 100%, about 130% year over year growth anticipated between 2020 and 2019. Looking at gross profit margin, 68, 41, 60%. We'll look for that to remain around 60%. EBITDA, we're looking at, again, this was negative, and now has been positive in last year and is expected to be positive moving forward. EBITDA margin at 26, 58, and positive 32. So again, things heading in the right direction there. And net income, finally at positive here at $2.1 million from some pretty big losses the year prior. And we expect this net income margin to remain positive moving forward per guidance. Now, as we talked about guidance, if we look at 2020 versus 2021, they're anticipating $118 million in revenue with 42 in adjusted EBITDA, with actual EBITDA of $32 million. If we compare that to 2020, they had only 51 million and 18 million in EBITDA. So again, doubling revenues and earnings 57 million revenue just in the first half of 2021. Again, that's more revenue than they had in all of 2020. 130% same store sales growth in the first half of 2020. Clean balance sheet, we'll talk about that a little bit more, and cash from operations increased to 24 million from 2 million at the end of 2020. All right, for Q3 2021 earnings, MariMed reported 1 cent earnings per share. Analysts had them coming in at 0, so they were able to beat that by 1 penny. So really good there. On the revenue side, they reported 33.2 million in revenue, so they beat analyst estimates of 28.2 million by 5 million, or about a 17-18% beat on revenue. All right, jumping to the balance sheet, if we look at total current assets, they're at 39.8, property and equipment at 58.1 million, 102.9 in total assets. Current liabilities, or total current liabilities is 18.9, and total liabilities at 40.4, with long-term debt at 16.5. So really minimal long-term debt in comparison. They have definitely some short-term debt that they definitely have the funds to pay for at 39.8. So overall, the balance sheet looks healthy. All right, looking at the free cash flow. So Q1, they had 4.5 million in free cash flow, 5.1 million in Q2, 3.98 million in Q3, which is the latest quarter. And if we go ahead and average out their free cash flow in the last 3 quarters, we get 4.5 million anticipated for Q4. Now, it could be higher, it could be less, but we're making a forecast here, right? So at 18.8 million projected for full year 2021 free cash flow. At today's market cap, we get a price to free cash flow for full year 2021, or for year in 2021, at 17 times free cash flow. So this is, in my opinion, is a really, really good price to free cash flow for a company that has such strong growth rates. Now, if we look at guidance for full year 2021, MariMed actually in Q2 gave the guidance and updated their guidance from 100 million in revenue for full year 2021 to 118. They're maintaining that in Q3 earnings report. The thing that I want to note here is that while the industry appears to be lowering guidance, MariMed is going to maintain. And they go on to say, our strict financial discipline combined with our outstanding operations gives us the confidence that we will meet or beat our full year guidance. My opinion is they have a very good chance of actually beating that guidance. I think from 120 to 122 is realistic. If they have $30 million in revenue, they'll be able to do that. So I feel pretty confident. That means they have a little bit decrease in revenue for Q4 of about 30 million down from 32. So I think that they actually have a chance to beat that and get about 120. Now for my thoughts on MariMed as an investment. Now I think my price target of $1.60 is pretty conservative with the growth rate, with what they anticipate moving forward in terms of revenues in the future. I think right now prices seem relatively good. Now I think there is some risk in terms of the type of business that they operate in. Laws could change, regulations at the federal level could change. Well, I think the probability of that is fairly low based off of the trends of which states are legalizing cannabis at this rate. It is still a risk. While not, in my opinion, a low probability of risk, you just need to be aware of that. Now, when we look at their financial guidance, the growth rate of probably over 130% that, from 2020 to 2021 is quite good. Looking forward to the future, they have a pathway to grow their revenues by another 120 to 240 million. It didn't have a time frame there, but there were also other growth revenue streams that they didn't have even on that list. So they at least have a vision for growing the company by 2 to 3 times, or 2 times to 3 times what they are anticipating for full year 2021. And so it's good to have strong leadership giving real guidance towards what the future may look like. They have the possibility of an M&A maybe in the future, and that's, I think, where some real money is going to get made for folks and shareholders in MRMD. And I think there's a lot to like here. I really like that they're not a cannabis company that's burning capital. They have positive net income. They have good, strong free cash flow. Their balance sheet is not insane looking. Their long-term debt is not unreasonable. If they wanted to pay off their debts, they could do that in a relatively short amount of time based off of how much money that they're being able to generate year over, month over month now. Quarter over quarter. So all in all, MariMed looks like a strong investment. It doesn't look like a place where you're going to lose your money. Another risk here, you just have to realize that it is a relatively small cap company. It's still traded over the counter. It's not like a New York Stock Exchange traded company. And so all that really is the volumes are going to be lower. There's going to be less transactions with the name. And so there is some extra risk when you're investing in a smaller cap company, just in volume wise as well. And the type of investors that can. So institutionals are a little bit more limited on what they can invest in. So as MariMed continues to grow, if they're able to grow the company to large enough, then it can warrant other investors. But even then, based off of the industry they're in, I think there's going to need to be some legal changes before certain investors can actually go into their name. So, but that's the case for all multi-state operators. That's not unique to MariMed. So, that's an industry issue, not a MariMed issue. So, all that being said, I really like MariMed right now. I got a small position in there. I plan to hold it for quite a long time, see how it works out. All in all, I think the upside is pretty large here. While I do have a pretty conservative price target, I think that, you could see this going triple to 5 times. I don't know, that maybe 3 to 5 years, giving just a high level on what I think it possibly could do. But I feel very strongly about the $1.60 in the next 12 months. Thank you so much for watching today's video. My name is Frank. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing. I do videos on personal finance, investing, and stock analysis such as this one. Please hit that like button if you found anything helpful throughout this video. Thank you so much for watching. Frank Finance, out.